And now you're garbage if you lost.
And now you're it's like, oh my gosh, Ben Askren got knocked out in 4
Oh,
seconds.
he's a garbage fighter. I knew it. I knew he was nothing. And it's like, this guy just went 19-0.
19-0, and and if the fight happens again,
it could go different.
What happened in the first fight tells me zero about what would happen in the second. The only thing it tells me is that what happened in the first one won't happen again.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, I don't see him taking a flying knee to the head in the first 5 seconds.
And okay, to Masvidal's, to his credit, they did put out the tape afterwards showing he did train it. They did know that Ben did not have stand up. He wasn't ready for stand up. Ben's a problem if Ben gets a hold of you.
Absolutely.
And they just, I mean, that's what Masvidal said. He said, this is what I'm gonna start off with, or I'm gonna catch him with this because I know he likes to go low. He wants to shoot a double leg or whatever, and I'm going to take advantage of that. But
and that's a great setup.
Awesome setup.
Great camp. Great. You put the work in. You did your film study. You came up with a plan, and it worked. And it worked. I don't want to say lucky kick. I'm not saying that's a lucky kick. It was a very well placed knee.
Right.
That took him out.
And it's a highlight reel forever, and it's 5 seconds, really 3 second knockout. I mean, it's in the history books.
The 2 punches before the stoppage were non-consequential.
Yeah, and I don't think they're counting that. That's the three piece, the 2 to the 3 piece that he said he was going to give him. But with that particular thing, let's say he missed the knee, and then Askren got a hold of him. That's a bad day for Masvidal. That's a terrible day if he finds himself on the ground. He knew he didn't want to get anywhere on the ground because Masvidal, even though he trains ground game, he definitely trains wrestling and all that stuff, and he's good at that stuff. He's not Ben Askren, right? So, that, like you said, if we did that fight over and over, if we did that fight 10 times,
there's no telling what's going to happen the other 9 times.
No telling. You couldn't even give me you couldn't say, well, Masvidal would get it like this many times. You don't even know.
I have no idea.
No
now
clue.
that that's happened, Ben Askren, he got scouted, and he got scouted in a way that hurt him, and he lost. But yeah, like you say, man, great fight, great highlight reel, great win. But again, Ben Askren's taking a lot of heat when it's he got caught with one move.
Exactly, caught with one move that could have not have happened. But all right, so I want to show this video. Have you watched the Ariel Helwani post fight?
No, I have not.
All right, I want to get your.
Okay, this will be good.
Let me set this up. So this is after the fight. I'm gonna try to get that. Bring this down to there. All right. I'm telling you guys, I need a tech up in here. I need a young Jamie to help me out, so I don't have to do all the tech stuff in the background. Okay, hello. Okay, so that still works. And what else am I looking for? I'm looking for that. Okay, let's put that in. Let's put that in there. Okay, cool. So let's watch that real quick. Oh, sorry, guys. Might help if I.
Remember the flying knee, and then when I can recall, I remember everything. I was like, oh.
All right, well, technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. All right, let's go back to Tad. I need a tech. There. Okay.
I want to come in here and slip a book into the background as a little Easter egg.
Oh, just so that's my.
Just be like, that's weird. Why is Leo reading that?
And you better believe I actually look at the books and I go, oh,
maybe a bottom's tale. If they only had it in print.
Savage. All right, let's see if we have it now.
I lost to George Masvidal.
That's weird.
I heard it for a second.
I was worried about myself. and I didn't really have any pain of any sort.
Okay, hold on, guys.
Not a headache.
We're almost there.
Nothing on my face hurts, and so it was just like.
So
I lost
this is
George
pretty
Masvidal.
painful watching
How did I
Leo
lose
try to
to
figure
him?
out how to work his
How fast
equipment.
was it? I
But-
could tell it was pretty fast because I wasn't like
That's
sweaty
really
or sore
loud.
or anything.
It's,
so I,
it's
you know, I
busting
knew
my. That's good right there.
fast. I didn't know exactly
Up,
how
up,
fast
up,
it
up, up,
was,
up,
and,
up, up, up.
You know, apparently, I guess I
That's
set a
good.
record of some sort.
Did you ever envision the fight starting like that? Did that scenario ever
Might
cross
actually
your
be a-
mind?
It might actually be a little.
You know what?
loud.
I was ready for knees,
Sorry, guys.
Good, perfect.
and I did. I lost to George Masvidal.
All right, let's start off there.
Okay,
And,
here we go.
Here we go.
You know, I remember being in the cage with him. I don't really remember the flying knee, and then when I can recall, I remember everything. I was like, oh,
Jeez.
I lost to George Masvidal. This freaking sucks. You know, and everyone else was more worried about me than I was worried about myself, and I didn't really have any pain of any sort. You know, not a headache. Nothing on my face hurts, and so it was just like, oh Jesus, I lost to George Masvidal. How did I lose to him? You know, how fast was it? I could tell it was pretty fast because I wasn't like sweaty or sore or anything, so I knew it was fast. I didn't know exactly how fast it was, and apparently I guess I set a record of some sort.
Did you ever envision the fight starting like that? Did that scenario ever cross your mind?
You know what? I was ready for knees. And I did say to Duke multiple times in the back room, I think he's going to try something crazy right away. If you remember the Till fight, obviously he ran across the ring and kicked Till in the balls in the first 4 seconds.
Which was awesome
And I just had
to watch.
I had an inkling that he's going to try something right away. And I've kind of always thought, like, who the hell gets flying knee? Like, can't you see that coming? It's coming from so far away. But when I watched the film, I mean, I don't like George at all, but that was a damn good flying knee. He hit it fast and explosively. He got some serious airtime on it, and then obviously connected in the right spot.
How many times have you watched it?
I think once or twice.
Really? And where did you see it?
4
Online?
or 5 times.
On your phone?
Yeah.
And what's
there's my Twitter's been blowing up. Errol, I think my biggest previous tweet was like 27,000 likes or something, which is respectable. But all I wrote after the fight was, "Well, that sucked." And
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I needed to elaborate any more on that. I think it was pretty obvious. And it got like 170,000
Yes.
likes or something absurd. So I think people are enjoying my pain, which whatever. And then I don't want to miss say it, but Heather Hardy, she's a fighter on here. She said MMA is hard. Stop being when people lose. It takes a lot of balls to step in the cage. And while that is true, I feel like I probably deserve it. You know, I've been antagonizing people for about a decade now, and it never came up on the end of the stick. Now, I'm not reading everything they're antagonizing me with. Obviously, I'm scrolling through it. I don't want to dwell on that. But, fair enough. I always figured when this point happened that I would get I'd get lit up, and I'm not paying attention to it, but I'm sure I am. I'm getting lit up.
Is it worse than you expected?
I'm not looking at it.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I told you to tell me.
All right. Well, how about this? How about Dylan Dennis and Darren Till, two guys who you've had, back and forth with, both saying nice things and telling you to keep your chin up? And did you see that? Yeah.
I did not. I told you. Listen, I mean, one of the things you can't do when stuff like this happens for me on social media is dwell on all the stuff people are saying. I just try to scroll through it. Obviously, people who are close to me have texted me and checked in on me. But yeah, I mean that's nice. Not that I expected it or anything. I figured they would have tore me up, which would have been definitely fair on their part, and I would not have been upset at them for doing so.
Dylan Dennis wrote, "Respect to Ben Askren, talked a big game and put it on the line. A true warrior. He will be back with a bang." Darren Till wrote, "Unlucky Ben. SHIT happens. You'll be back." So how about that?
Wow. Well, yeah, that's very nice of those guys. So, like I said, I wouldn't have been mad if they would have went a little harder in the paint on me. I think that would have been fair. I probably would have deserved it.
What about the extra punches as you were clearly out?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I didn't even watch them.
Okay.
I don't care. It happens. I knew what I signed up for. Do I like George Masvidal? No. If you asked me before the fight if George knocks you out, is he gonna take a few extra shots? I would have said, "Yep, he definitely is." So that's his, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine.
Does the fact that it's a record bother you more?
No, I think that's probably a positive. Right? I mean, would you want to be somewhere in mediocrity at like 24 seconds, or you want to have a record at 5?
Might as well just take the record.
You might as well just have the record. Yeah. Also, you calculate like my pay per hour due to a 5-second knockout. It's pretty fantastic.
Okay, so what about the fact that it is a guy that you don't like, right? Like there was clearly some heat there between you guys, some bad blood.
Yeah.
The fact that he has this victory over you now.
Yeah, it's annoying. What am I to do about it? Cry? Ask for a rematch? I don't deserve a rematch. I got knocked out in 5 seconds. What do you want me to do? Okay, Ariel, sometimes life doesn't go your way. Sometimes you get your ass kicked. Sometimes you lose. You don't have to like it, but you got to accept it.
When is the last time you recall losing on a big stage?
Well, I lost to Jordan Burroughs in May, but
I mean that was like an actual professional competitive.
In something I was actually like 100% focused on the last time would be the Olympic.
Wow. And how does this compare?
Not nearly as painful.
Do you now have a newfound respect for Jorge Masvidal?
No, I got the douche. No, I don't like it. I mean, listen, he's a good fighter. I said he was a good fighter before I fought him. There's no doubt about that. But the whole attitude, kind of what I said earlier about how he said he wanted to knock me out more because, I talked trash was ridiculous. He was going to try to knock me out,
right?
No matter what scenario was.
Hello, everyone. It's
all right. Then no commercial for me, and that's how you do it. That's how you take defeat.
No, absolutely. Like he did great. I think I'm having some difficulty with
hearing.
No, my headphones. One of my ears went dead.
I'm telling you, man, I shouldn't cheaped out on the mic.
There we go. It's
you
back.
You just got to wiggle.
I gotta just shake this up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what she said. So I mean, that's how you do it. That's exactly how you take a loss.
So a couple things I like is he didn't like try to backtrack and be like, oh, I don't have anything against George Masvidal. He's like, look, I don't like the guy. Like, I just don't like the guy. But at the same time, like, I'm not so like I don't have to like everybody. I can like who I want to like, and it doesn't change what I'm going to try to do in the ring or anything like that. And and the other guy, if he doesn't like me, he's entitled to do what he's going to do. And yeah, he shakes it off. Like, I feel like the interviewer really, and I'm not saying that these are bad questions, but he's like he really wanted to elicit a response.
You don't know Ariel Helwani, do you?
No, I don't. But he's really trying to. It's like he's trying to get a soundbite that he can then replay and make that the big thing. Dan Patrick is amazing for it.
You, without knowing who Ariel Helwani is, this guy is the. He's big. UFC commentates on the commentary like this type of stuff, and he's the press and stuff. He's at all the things. He's big as far as UFC reporting, and the thing people hate Ariel because that's exactly his MO. Is he's trying to get very disingenuous. By the way, at least that's how I feel whenever I watch him. But he's looking, like you said, for that soundbite. He really wants Ben Askren to, say something that's going to end up being.
That he could just blow out of proportion.
Sound bites.
To say that he didn't earn it, or that it was a lucky kick, or that
he should
anything like that.
Ben Askren, after this, everybody in the comments, man, everybody that was like, I still hate Ben Askren,
but I respect him.
But I respect him. That's a cool way to, and everybody respects him. Why? Because, and finally, in a situation where you do the right thing, which is what I think that was, you do the right thing and you get rewarded for it. People recognize that.
And he even went like steps further to sort of, I think, kind of repair any image or anything. Like the idea of, like, well, what do you think should happen now, right? Like, he's like, what do you think I should do? Like, I don't deserve a rematch because so that's like. It's again, I think it's him trying to elicit the soundbite of, yeah, you put me in the ring again and this is what I'm going to do. No, instead, he just completely backs off. He's not even talking about a rematch. He's saying, I don't deserve a rematch because I got knocked down in 5 seconds.
Right.
He tries to make him mad for, he tries to press the button several times about, oh, well, you got a record. You got the record of fastest knockout in UFC history.
Yeah.
And Ben Askren's like, yeah, it's better than being mediocre. Like I'm now
great.
in the. And he's like, yeah, would you rather
in the record books?
Yeah, would you rather be meddling around in mediocrity at 24 seconds or get knocked out in 5 and set the record? He's like, I'll take the record because and
They're talking about him.
does it bother him? So I don't actually believe that that's a genuine answer from Ben Askren. I think that of course it bothers you that you have the record for the fastest defeat in UFC history. But at the same time, he's not going to give the soundbite of, yeah, this absolutely sucks. This is the most crushing, worst defeat that I've ever had, and at the hands of a person that I don't like. And again, he's like, I'm not going to cry about it
Because
this happened.
What would have that done to his image? How people see him if he was real salty about it and like in the negative way? It's like you're too emotional about it. That's a bad thing. Like you look weak if that's your response, and that's typically the response.
Yeah, and it honestly, like, it's sort of like, and I didn't follow a lot of the pre-fight back and forth or what was talked or anything like that, but Ben Askren comes across in this interview as a person who's like, yeah, I genuinely don't like that person, but at the same time, like, I've been antagonizing people for the last 10 years.
I deserve
this
it.
is kind of what I do.
Yeah.
And it's almost making it like I instigate, I antagonize. This is kind of part of my self-promotion. And it almost makes like, the celebration that Masvidal had in the ring seem a little bit like
Childish.
like, like, man, you really, you know what I mean? Like, if that fight happens again, 100% rooting for Ben Askren all the way. 100%.
I would want to see that fight again. I would love to
see the fight again too, because I didn't get to see the fight the first time because you were too busy trying to get a selfie with everybody at the table, and we turned around and it was over. And then because and I'm guessing UFC has some kind of policy where they're going to make sure that people aren't suffering from some kind of catastrophic injury before they show the replay. But it took like 45 seconds to a minute before we even got to see the replay what happened.
Yeah, because they were busy trying to see if he was
they're just
still
checking
alive.
Yeah,
What I mean is I want to see the rematch.
No, I absolutely want to see a rematch. I think that would be really cool. But I mean, when Masvidal lays on the ring and sort of like elevates his feet and I just got knocked out, runs over and pats the mat, like yelling in his face.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that I'm just like,
Street Jesus.
It's just it's he won the fight. Again, you can do what you want to do, but I think that Ben Askren, if you're looking at just like a personality, like which personality would be more popular right now if you just polled 1,000 people, I'd say that Ben Askren, if people see this interview, are going to say, yeah, him.
Yeah.
I think that this is huge for his for just as sort of like a PR thing.
Unless you're polling in the hood, and in that case, it's all Masvidal. I mean, he's hood. I mean, he'll tell you he's a hood dude. I think it's Street Jesus or Ghetto Jesus. I forget his his other nickname besides Game Bread, but he it's funny because he comes from the school. It's weird because like everything you're saying is true after the fact, right? The after the fact reaction, you're right. This one's more childish. This one is taking it, like a champ, right? But in juxtaposition to that, Masvidal didn't want trash talk. He comes from like that old school. I don't want to talk all this trash. I want to fight. Whereas Ben Askren he's a hype man. He's trying to hype the fight, which UFC loves. They want that, obviously.
They want it, and they, the knockouts. This is great. This is a huge victory for UFC, and I agree with you, right? Like, Masvidal's like, yeah, if you're going to run your mouth, you need to back it up in the ring.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to talk. I don't want
to talk about it. And the other thing is like, and it's very odd. So the other thing I'll give, sort of some leeway to Masvidal is that this was obviously a very important emotional fight for him, and that Ben Askren sort of downplays did the trash talk make him want to knock you out more? Yeah, and it made him want to knock him out more.
Yeah, definitely.
What if he had changed anything? I don't know. I doubt it. But it could have, and he was certainly more motivated.
He was trying to get in his head, and it didn't work because Masvidal comes from the streets. That you're used to that. You're used to people talking trash.
Right. And so when he runs across the ring and he gets the knee, and then he does the 2 extra one, and which again, like, I you keep throwing punches until the referee stops.
That's
you.
right,
That's
yeah.
that's the referee's job.
He was not wrong for
So
still going.
I don't think that any of that's wrong. And Ben Askren, I think again answered that question masterfully.
Perfectly. Yes.
And then so now you've just won this fight, and you know it's fast. You know you didn't get hit. You might have a bruise on your knee tomorrow. That's like this is the extent of what's happened, and it was, an emotional, like, this is something that he wanted very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the celebration, was it, I don't think that it was probably premeditated, right? Like, you don't premeditate, like, oh, if I knock him out, I'm going to pretend that I'm knocked out beside him. This was something that I think was a genuine emotional,
Yes.
like, I am vindicated.
Yep.
And I'm doing this now. Like, you want to show me up, I'm going to show you up.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was all the emotions coming out.
And that's fine. I like, and I say this stuff, when I watch NFL or I watch stuff and I'm just like, my dad was one of these guys, very old school, guy scores a touchdown, does the dance. My dad's like, act like you've been there before, right? Like this is the thing, like this. And
Dad's not down for that.
And he's repeating quotes from other coaches from, over the years. But the difference is like, those are big emotional moments. Now, I get some of these things are premeditated, etc. But like, I've played in flag football leagues in college where I scored a touchdown and I didn't like the guys on the other team because I thought they were douches.
Yeah.
And so I put the ball in their face, or I'd say, you want it so bad, take it. Like I do stuff like that. And when I look back, I'm like, that's a jerk thing I did, but I did it. But I did it, and it's
Yeah.
like it's because like you always look at it and you're like, you see these 15-yard penalties and stuff. And you're like, why? This is so stupid.
Right.
But then you're like, I probably haven't been in a sporting situation where something meant that much.
So much on the
probably.
line. Yeah,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
it's like there's a different thing now. Like there's certain guys that they don't play with as much emotion, and that's fine. Like Peyton Manning didn't get a lot of 15-yard taunting penalties.
No.
All right,
No.
but
They're not his style.
But his position doesn't really elicit like running somebody over or jumping over somebody or making somebody look like an idiot.
That's true. There's something about getting closer to a fight situation.
It's way more macho when you're like out physically somebody.
Yeah, like if a linebacker does it, then it almost makes sense. Like especially if you're a guy, you kind of understand testosterone does funny things to you when you overcome somebody physically like that. And yeah, I again, Masvidal, man, I guarantee you he had so much pent up aggression. He really wanted. I mean, his thing before the fight, talking about what he was going to do. He says, "I want to torture this guy. I don't want to." He said this after the fact. He goes, "I wanted to go in there and beat up on him, torture him," and then he said it before and after the fight. And then I wanted to throw the knee and knock him out. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want it to end that quickly. I wasn't planning on it to end that quickly. So he's got all this pent up rage, wins,
Right.
and then that's what we saw. Which, by the way, man, meme fodder. Everybody online is loving that stuff.
And so honestly, like, and when you really look at it from the big picture and you look at both sides, you look at both fighters, I think that what you see is like there really aren't any bad guys here. Ben Askren's intention is to promote a fight.
Right.
He did.
Yep.
Masvidal got offended by it and had an emotional reaction, and it inspired him to give a masterful performance in a UFC big-time fight. Ben Askren gets knocked out. He says exactly the right things afterward. If there is a rematch, it's going to be well promoted. It's going to be a big deal.
Big
like,
deal. Yep.
This is just, it's a huge win for UFC to have these two guys going against each other.
In the end, the big winner was UFC.
Yeah,
once again.
and both guys, like, again, there aren't any bad guys. These guys, they're not bad guys.
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Masvidal's Cuban, but yeah, I'm hyped, man. But you know what? They're not gonna rematch him anytime soon. I don't think, because Dana's got Masvidal just is coming off a 2-win streak, knockout.
Well, it's also not fair to him,
No,
right? Like
the guy's been in the game for almost 16 years, I think, as a pro.